This video is sponsored by Manta Sleep.
A nightmare. Literally a nightmare.
Welcome back to Elm Street, children. The only place where the boogeyman comes out the closet before you do. This movie, man, this could have been so great with the right writer, the right director who understood the assignment, right? And this is a long time coming. Ever since I started this channel, I knew from the jump at one point I was going to talk about this movie because I said it in my Final Boys video. If you haven't seen that, check that out. I said that there was a scene in that movie that was pretty much my introduction into horror. So I have a lot of nostalgia with this movie, but also the lore behind this movie and the aftermath. It's so upsetting. I have a lot of opinions. I don't know how long this is going to be. I hope it doesn't push past an hour. Maybe it'll push past a little bit. I got about 30 pages, so we gonna get into it. We gonna get into it. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge is a 1985 supernatural slasher directed by Jack Shoulder and written by David Chaskin. It stars Mark Patton, Kim Myers, Robert Russler, and of course horror legend Robert Englund as the Dream Demon himself. On a $3 million budget, the film grossed $30 million at the box office. Meanwhile, a smash hit. And although critically torn to shreds, one thing we know about Hollywood is when something makes money, they like to milk that bitch for all it's worth. And that is the reason why we have I think it's 8 Elm Street films. Funny how this is quite infamous for being the gayest horror film ever made, but what's more interesting is how unintentional, or at least unclaimed, that queerness was, and how horror fans reclaimed it decades later. I covered the first one back in July, so if you have not seen that video, check it out. It's very fun, one of my favorite videos, and just adds a little dab of context to a lot of what I will say in this video and about the franchise in general. This film is pretty much what a lot of the Elm Street fans deem as the black sheep of this franchise because of how tonally different it is compared to its peers, and dare I say how queer it is. And there's layers to what I just said. There are 3 huge factors I can point at saying that. Freddy's Revenge is the only film in the series where Freddy kills each of his victims outside of their dreams. It's the only film not to use Charles Bernstein's original theme or a variation of it. And it's the only film to have a male protagonist. We have so much to talk about though, so let's just get right into this. Grab a drink, order takeout, roll up, whatever, get comfortable because this thing is a mess. Here's Freddy's Revenge. The film opens on the 80s Twinkie cruising down the suburbs with a questionable title card, and if you pay close enough attention, you'll realize who the bus driver is. Way in the back of the Twinkie, we see our protagonist, Twink Jesse, with the most tragic haircut I've ever seen. After a few stops, it's only Jesse and these 2 girls left, and they start laughing at him, giggling louder when he can't fix the stuck window, but that laugh gets swiped right out of their throat as the bus driver rolls past their stop.
Hey driver, that was my stop. Driver, that was my stop.
No, don't say nothing now. That's exactly what you get for picking on the queer kid. And not the driver took off into the field. Oh, y'all gonna die. We get our first glimpse of that familiar sweater as lightning strikes and the yellow Twinkie is shooting through the desert. But suddenly, the bus comes to a halt and the ground around the bus starts sinking into the ground. And these teens find themselves balancing on 2 rock fixtures, only inches away from falling into the void. That's when we finally meet Frederick Krueger. We meet again. You burnt bitch. He starts moving towards the back and all of them pile against each other as Fred raises his glove, swipes down, and we smash cut into juicy red tomatoes being cut. That was definitely strike one for the audience back in '85, you know, because what kind of man, what kind of boy screams like that? In the kitchen, we have Mama Cheryl, Papa Ken, and daughter Angie. Angie is like, Mommy, why can't Jesse wake up like everybody else? And Mama's like, oh, little girl, just eat your cereal. He's just having a bad dream. Jesse is completely drenched in sweat. His room is messy as hell, and we can even see a U-Haul box, which lets us know that they just moved into the house. Ken sees him bring down 2 more boxes, praising him, but then buckles down saying that he wants Jesse's room unpacked by tonight. Jesse is like, okay girl, I promise. And Ken says, oh, I don't want any promises. You just make sure that you get that room unpacked. Like, Slim, didn't he just say that he was gonna get the room unpacked? What else do you want? Angie is digging in her Fu Manchus, trying to get the fingers, while Jesse is saying how hot it is upstairs in his room. And Cheryl tells Ken that he needs to fix the AC, but he says there's nothing wrong with the AC. It just needs a shot of Freon.
Look.
Triggered. The doorbell rings, and that's when we meet Jesse's friend, Lisa. And yes, I'm going to point out the obvious. This actress's name is Miss Kim Myers, and she resembles Meryl Streep a lot. And unfortunately, the filmmakers had casted her for that exact reason, which is kind of a little bit disrespectful that they admit to that. So Jesse and Lisa became friends off screen. I guess maybe one day he just offered her and it just stuck around. He gives her a ride to school every day. In the background, we can see the door of the Elm Street house is now red, which is what it's most known for being, but in the original film, it was blue, which is a little interesting detail, which I highly doubt was intentional on the filmmaker's part. We will go into all of those bastards. In the original film, the door was blue, the car was red, and driven by the love interest, and our protagonist was a girl. But in this film, everything is flipped. Red door, blue car, male lead, and he's also the driver. To start up Jesse's beat up blue dinosaur, homeboy's got a DIY push to start, black smoke coming out mess. During baseball practice, we meet Grady, same thing. Lisa's friend Carrie catches Lily and Jesse throwing looks. So woman to woman, are you getting any at least? She asks. And Lisa tells this chick that he's just my ride to school. Grady's first pitch was a strike because he's like, I didn't feel right, give me a break. Right. And that's exactly what you get for trying to get the girls to look at you, clown. But his second pitch, he swings and he hits, knocking Jesse right in the skull. The entire team come to comfort Jay, except Grady, who just keeps on running. Then their punk-ass coach comes up to Jesse saying,
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, pay attention next time.
This is Coach Schneider, and oh my god, I cannot believe out of the many times I've seen this film, I did not realize who this guy was. This actor is Marshall Bell. He plays Gordy's father in Stand By Me, a film I covered back in August, and a film that exposed me to what cinema is. Grady passive-aggressively pets Jesse's face saying, very heads-up play. And after the next batter, a guy named Mitch swings. The defense play a game of back and forth with Grady until he skids by Jesse's plate, but he's out. Jesse uses Grady's line on him, saying, you're out, heads up play. And Grady intentionally pants him. If you ask me, I think it's because he wanted to see the cheeks, but Carrie is like, nice ass. And even though Jesse doesn't physically retaliate, Grady full on tackles him and the boys roll around in the dirt, butt exposed. I mean, just a bunch of homos, am I right? Snyder swoops in, yanks both of them up and says,
Assume the position.
you love a double entendre, don't you? He makes the dirtballs do push-ups when really they're just holding plank positions. And Jesse asks Grady how long he thinks Coach is gonna keep him out here. But Grady says it could be all night, cause Schneider gets his rocks off like this. Then he reveals our first little inkling of subtext, which I'm gonna put quotes around.
Hangs around queer S&M joints downtown.
He likes pretty boys like you. Get out of here.
Just like Carrie, Grady asks his bro to give him the 411 on if him and that rich babe Kimmy are getting it in. He's like, are you mounting her nightly or what? And Jesse goes on the defense asking Grady if he's got a problem with him. Why are you dodging the question? Boo-boo, just answer it. Coach tells the dirtballs to hit the showers and we jump ahead right after. Like, boo, they didn't show them showering together. Y'all are so fucking whack. Well, I don't really care about Jesse. I just wanted to see Papi Chulo. Grady finds out Jay and his family just moved to the house on Elm Street. He's asking Blondie if he's aware of the story about the chick that was locked in there by her mother and went crazy. Watched her boyfriend get butchered across the street by some maniac. And Jesse tells him he's full of shit. That night, Jesse keeps tossing and turning, so he goes downstairs. And I don't know why he's fully dressed right now. We saw that he had no shirt on in bed. No one is awake, so who cares? It's not like they're gonna see anything, but more than that, he has this like scrub top on with jeans and sneakers. You are just going down to the kitchen. We need to do better, filmmakers. We gotta do better. Details. When he opens the fridge, a drink spills out, and while grabbing paper towels, he sees somebody in the bushes moving. So time to play investigator. We can hear a door slam in the distance and those infamous screeching knives. Looks like Frederick wants to come out and play. A glowing fire catches Jesse's eyes, and he inches closer, seeing Frederick getting his glove. So Jesse rushes back inside, about to go down to the basement when he sees a shadow. So he slams the door, and on the opposite side, Frederick is trying to open it. This entire scene, not my number one, but runner up. I would say this is probably my second favorite scene. This is where Jesse and Freddy officially meet. And if there was ever anybody on the planet who denied the subtext in this film, I want you to show them this scene under the stairs.
Daddy can't help you now.
But then I started to understand what was going on.
Like it's right there. Like it's I have something so interesting to share with you about this scene specifically, but we're gonna save that to the end. Frederick knows all your secrets, and he's going to adapt to your inner demons to get what he wants. This visual of his eyes is my favorite shot, not only in this film, but across this entire franchise. He tells Jesse that both of them have special work to do, slamming him against the wall into submission.
Oh, shit. Oh. You've got the body, and I've got the brains.
He rips his skin back, revealing his brain, and again, Jesse lets out that honestly quite impressive scream. Jesse wakes up still screaming, and the parents come running in. Cheryl wants to call the doctor, but Jesse is saying, I'm fine, it's just a bad dream. Our dear little Jesse just can't seem to catch a break, can he? I mean, every time he closes his eyes, this crispy creep Frederick is messing with his little confused teenage boy mind. Pure nightmare fuel, isn't it? But in real life, sleep should be the one place that you're safe in. And that's where today's sponsor, Manta Sleep, comes in. Their blackout masks give you 100% darkness, soft cushion comfiness, full adjustability, and zero chance of a clawed hand creeping out the boiler room. I had the honor of using these masks over the past few months, and I mean, wow, like it definitely does make a difference as somebody who wakes up numerous times throughout the night. With Manta, you get deep, uninterrupted rest, so you can dream sweet and not scream sweet. If you want to wake up feeling refreshed, click the link in my description and use my code DREAMWARRIOR for 10% off your order. Trust me, it's the best defense against sleepless nights. And Freddy. Rich girl Lisa is doing her strokes in her big ass pool. God damn, they were not playing. This bitch got money. And her mother tells her that there's a Jesse on the phone. We cut and see Jesse head downstairs, but of course Ken said that he wants that motherfucking room unpacked now. Even though Jesse said he's just going out for an hour or two, Ken says get your skinny ass up them stairs. The diva is mad. The most infamous, and I say infamous in all its glory, scene in the film, Jesse pops in a mixtape playing an 8-minute song called Touch Me by Wish and Fonda Rae. I'm so serious when I say that I listen to that song till this day. My Spotify will probably shuffle that song maybe 2 to 3 times a week. He starts throwing shit in the drawer like, how do you like that, Dad? He's such a rebel, putting on his shades, snapping to the beat, throwing a cap on, twerking the drawer closed, doing whatever this is.
This is
so humiliating!
Lisa offers to help Jesse clean the rest of his room, finding a can of Jock Itch, asking where it goes. Oh boy. And while putting his sweaters on the top shelf of his closet, she finds a red diary that belonged to Nancy Thompson. And the diary is 5 years old, even though this movie came out a year after the original. That means that this movie takes place in '89. Lisa starts reading her diary out loud, where Nancy writes about watching Glenn get undressed, seeing him across the street in his window with his slim and smooth body.
Can I see that?
But when Jesse starts reading, it turns dark. A horrible, ugly, dirty figure under the sheets, tearing at Nancy's nightgown with his steel claws. Fred, he's in the boiler room. How do we go from a Wattpad smut to Stephen King? Lisa starts to see horror on Jesse's face before he brings up what Grady told him in the locker room. That night, once more, our boy is tossing and turning. His lampshade has completely melted, along with multiple other items. Not the Smiths vinyl. Just kidding, we don't know who the artist is. But, I mean, did he not think to, like, buy a fan for his room? Jesse goes all the way down to the boiler room where he finds Freddy's glove in the wood stove when... His dumbass laugh. I love it. Do you know what this freaky frog says?
Go ahead, Jesse. Try it on for size.
He sizzles his hand on the furnace and says, "Kill for me." Jesse tells Lisa about last night, and she says maybe he was having a premonition. Perhaps he's one of those people who can help people solve crimes or something. She then asks for the diary so she can do more research. In this scene, we also learn that Lisa is throwing a pool party that weekend, and before her and Carrie Hilson walk away, she gives Jesse a little kissy on the cheek. While running with Grady during baseball practice, Jesse asks his homie if he remembers his dreams.
Only the wet ones.
Oh my god, not me and Jesse matching. I only wore this because I knew that they had played baseball in the movie, and I already wore the Freddy sweater in the first one. I didn't want to do it again, so this is what we got. I might start dressing more simple. I don't know. I know that I've gotten a lot of comments about how I choose to dress on theme and how much it is appreciated, but we'll see if I keep doing it. I don't know. The boys are talking shit about Snyder having a stick up his ass, and he catches them, so assume the position. I bet that asshole does, like, sticks up his ass. After a pretty stupid and pointless scene of a bird acting up in this hot-ass crib, then catching on fire and exploding, Ken somehow finds a way to make this about Jesse. Jesse won't help him move the stove, which Ken thinks has gas issues. Then he starts blaming his son for setting up this entire thing. Like, what? Yeah, you used firecrackers or some goddamn cherry bomb. Jesse's like, look, you can't talk to me like that. And then rushes out the kitchen.
Look, you can't talk to me like that.
Jesse, come back here. Jesse, come back here, Jesse! Jesse!
Jesse McCartney wakes in the middle of the night, unable to sleep. I'm sorry, pause. This is like the 40th time we have done this. Jesse wakes up in the middle of the night, sweating, walks around like a zombie, wakes up, goes in the kitchen with his parents and argues, goes to school and tells Lisa about it, goes to baseball practice with Grady, repeat. What is that? 4 steps? 5 steps? What are we doing? Jesse heads out the house even though it's storming and pouring down rain, but he couldn't resist going all the way to a bar called Don's Place. But this is no a regular bar, my friends. This is a leather bar. New Line Cinema producer Bob Shea is the bartender who serves Jesse a beer. And the boy didn't even pay for it, nor did he card him. Jail. I probably would have screamed, I ain't gonna lie. You think, or at least you hope, that this is a fucking dream because Schneider makes Jesse go all the way to the school with him and run laps in the gym. This script makes no goddamn sense. Imagine, put yourself in this situation, right? You're a teenager, you wake up in the middle of the night in the pouring rain to go to the gay bar, like duh. You sneak in, you see your baseball coach, and then they try to make you go to your high school gym and run laps. No, what is this? I would have told him to get f***ed. Coach tells him to hit the showers, which he does. It's getting weird. Like, for all we know, he could have slipped in there and tried to do something that he ain't got no business doing. Schneider's door creaks open and uncanny things start happening, like tennis rackets heating and popping, basketballs coming out on their own, items flying off the shelves, and a magical force takes 2 jump ropes, tying them around his wrist and dragging him to the showers, where he's tied up, stripped, and then whipped with a towel. Why? Just why? Jesse is still showering, watching all of this until the steam covers him and he turns into Frederick. So, fun fact, this scene was shot before they officially invited Robert Englund back. And yeah, you heard me right. Initially, they didn't want to pay Robert Englund, but after using a stuntman to play Freddy, they realized that, bitch, you can't replace the OG. Like, look at the way bro is walking through the steam. I mean, it didn't even bother. Like, just giving me nothing. Anyway, Fred slices his back and Schneider is game over. But remember, Jesse watched all of this. Or did he have a much bigger role? Two officers bring Jesse home saying he was wandering on the highway naked and alone. The parents bring him in and Ken says, I have two questions, son. What are you taking and who are you getting it from? But JJ tells him he's not into drugs, only poppers. The next morning while Jesse is trying to leave for school, Cheryl is pressing him, trying to find out what happened last night. Meanwhile, Ken is taking off the bars installed on all the windows. Cheryl tells her husband Jesse needs to go to a psychiatrist. He needs professional help because clearly we don't know how to give it to him. Round of applause for this mother actually mothering, parenting, and trying to get help for this troubled kid, since this pathetic excuse of a father is completely missing the plot. Ken's basically like, ah ha ha ha, shut up woman, you don't know what's right for him, he's not in trouble.
What that boy needs is a good goddamn kick in the butt. That's what he needs.
This teenage boy is waking up every single night, waking up every single morning, screaming and sweating, walking around on the highway in the pouring rain, naked, sleepwalking. There is obviously something going on, but you just say that he needs a good kick in the butt. Jesse and Lisa get to school, they see cop cars and ambulances. Grady asks where he's been cause Schneider got wasted last night. Sliced like a kielbasa. Jesse, you are a filthy murderer. Have you no shame? That night, Jesse wakes up seeing Frederick's glove in his drawer moving. And why did he even put that in his drawer? Put that back in the furnace. Throw it out. Then we hear his voice again say, kill for me. He opens Angie's door and she's jump roping, singing the Elm Street nursery rhyme, ? And the next morning, JJ starts clocking his father for knowing about the killing across the street. He knew about the girl who lost her mind upstairs, and Cheryl is like, what? He's like, come on, Cheryl. How do you think we got such a good deal on the house? Couldn't pass it up. This is the shit I'm talking about. Mama is rightfully pissed, and Jesse says that the mother killed herself in the living room. Pause. Marge died upstairs in her bed while she was sleeping because Frederick was choking her. I mean, damn, did the writer even watch the fucking movie before writing this? Angie is like, Mama, I'm scared. And Cheryl says, oh, honey, it's all right. Daddy and Jesse are just pretending. The fuck is we pretending about? No, this is some real shit.
There's absolutely nothing, I mean nothing, wrong with this house.
Lisa is telling Jay Money he may just be picking up psychic signals, and just because he dreamt something doesn't mean that it's real. She directs him all the way to this industrial building that was an old power plant that Kruger used to work at. Lee did some reading on our Kruger. And I mean, damn, at this point, she might as well be the protagonist because she is the only person in the film being active. She tells him about Fred taking the lives of 20 plus kids before they sit in silence. And she asks him if he feels anything.
I feel like a jerk.
Don't piss me off. Not a damn thing comes. That night, the furnace lights up and we get a POV shot walking all the way through the Elm Street house until we enter Angie's room.
Wake up, little girl.
Angie asks what time is it, and we see it's only Jesse over top of her with the glove on. J Money is now taking stay-up pills with Coca-Cola. I mean, where was this 20 minutes ago? Come on, movie. Jesse is being an irritable diva while driving as Lisa asks him if he's okay and if he wants to keep talking about this. Look at him, just rolling his eyes like, bitch, she is just trying to help you. He's like, my dad thinks I'm on drugs, my mom thinks I'm crazy, and you know what? At this point, I don't know if I don't agree with her. That's it. I mean, damn, we couldn't even add like a third reason to, add how distressed the character is. At lunch, Grady is talking with his mouth full, pissing me off, asking Jesse if he wants to go to a movie tonight and hang out, get a pizza, get things off his mind. I mean, he's basically asking you on a boy date and you are being pouty, still being pouty. Lily is looking at Jesse in pity. I wish you would talk to me. We can figure it out together.
There is nothing to figure out.
There is nothing to figure out. There's nothing to figure out. Okay. Grady calls Jesse a basket case, and Jesse raises his voice, grabbing everybody's attention in the cafeteria like, "Shut up, Grady!" "Fine! You want me to shut up? I'll shut up!" Then walks away. I mean, bitch, I could've wrote something better than I wasn't even alive in 85, and I could've wrote something better than this. At Lisa's party, her father's on the grill cooking and gets mad because kids are doing kid shit and making cannonballs in the pool. Bro is playing some 1920s band music, like, child, what year is it? But Lisa's mother makes their dad come inside and he tells Lisa the party needs to end at 12:30, no later. When Jesse goes inside the pool house, Lisa follows him.
Listen, I'm gonna leave. I'm not into this.
Lisa's asking him for the 100th time why he won't just talk to her, and he's like, "Please leave me alone." I don't know, guys. I mean, at this point, I would have been like, fine, Jesse. You know, I was trying to help your little gay ass. But if you don't want my help, then fine. He claims he doesn't want her to watch him fall apart because he's losing his mind. You see, he's afraid to go to sleep. He's afraid to stay awake. He's ruining the party when nobody at the party is paying attention to you, girl. Jesse says they're gonna take him away, and Lisa's like, "I'm not gonna let anything happen to you." They start making out. All the teens outside put on Bobby Orlando, and the party gets started. Oh yeah. Whoop whoop. Oh, that is so nasty. Jesse covers his mouth, and when Lisa asks what's wrong, he says nothing and just leaves. I feel so bad for Lisa. So Jesse goes all the way to Grady's house, and he finds a way to sneak inside his bedroom. Grady's like, "What the hell are you doing in my room?" And Jesse says, "Listen, baby, I'm in trouble and I need you to let me stay here tonight." Grady then tells him to go home and take a bottle of sleeping pills. J Money admits to killing Schneider, but only it wasn't him. There's someone inside of him. And last night it made him go to his sister's, and tonight with Lisa in the cabana. I think you are seriously losing it, bro.
I'm scared, Grady. Something is trying to get inside my body.
Yeah, and she's female and she's waiting for you in the cabana. And you want to sleep with me.
Hey, look, dude. Do we blame him? I think not. I think not. Jesse asks Grady to watch over him like an angel. And if he starts to act weird or dream weird or try to walk out, then he's got to stop him. He doesn't care if he has to hit him over the head. Just don't let him leave and don't fall asleep. Carrie Hilson persuades Lisa to go after Jesse and see what's wrong, even though this is her own party, but fuck the party, right? Grady is flipping through the channels, bored as shit, and tells Jesse sweet dreams as he cuts the TV off and goes to sleep. But that's when Jesse abruptly wakes up, telling Grady it's starting to happen. Grunting, Loki looking constipated, knives start coming out of his hands, Frederick's sweater is ripping through his skin. Grady starts banging on his bedroom door screaming, Jesse screaming with him, and inside his mouth is an eyeball. That's when Freddy's face starts printing out of his stomach until he slices his abdomen and completely crawls out of him. Grady's parents come to the door knocking, but it's locked. This scene makes me so mad. Like, he killed my baby. Frederick grabs his throat, lifts him into the air, and stabs him through the chest and down the stomach. After panning over, we see Freddy in the mirror, with the glove and blood all over Jesse. You son of a bitch! You killed him! The police are heard outside, and Jesse skedaddles out his window in distress. He runs back to Lisa's, almost catatonic, like, I killed Grady. I killed Grady. Oh, Lisa, I'm so scared. He's inside me. Who, Jesse? Fred Krueger. He's inside me, and he wants to take me. He wants to take my booty hole. And Lisa's telling him, you know, this is not happening. This is not happening. This is just everything that he's taken in. This is the diary. This is the glove. This is fucking hell. What do I have to do to make you understand me? I got blood on my hands. He owns me. Outside at the party, the pool starts boiling. Come on, heated pool. Even though I don't think it should be that hot to the point of, you know, boiling. All the hot dogs catch on fire, cans of beer magically open, and Lisa grabs Nancy's diary to read him the last page where Nancy says that all the Elm Street kids were the ones who brought him into the world by giving him all the energy he needed. Their screams were all he needed. An invisible force locks the gate, simultaneously locking the parents' room, and Lisa's telling J Money that he can fight him. That's when Jesse starts feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
Oh God, he's coming back.
The window closes, all the doors lock.
He is living off of your fear. Jesse, fight him!
Look at her hands like hovering over him. She's like, you created him. You can destroy him. Go back to hell. Demon, be gone. Child, I would have cast that motherfucker out. Get my salt. Or he picked the wrong nigga. The TV explodes, the water tank explodes, all the lanterns outside explode, and that's when we hear Frederick chuckling.
He can't fight me. I'm here.
Lisa grabs this shirt that's sitting on the chair next to her, and she's like, no. Swinging him with the lamp like, girl, if you don't stop playing and drop kick this hoe. All the doors are locked, so Lisa continues running and falls right into his arms. They drop on the ground, and as he takes a bite of chicken out her leg, she kicks him in the face. At this point, the pool has turned into a full-on seafood boiling pot. My fucking plate from Amsterdam, you bitch! She eyes a chef knife, calling for Jesse, and Frederick is like,
There is no Jesse. I'm Jesse now.
but he is there, telling Lisa to kill him. Her stabs do absolutely nothing. It's like stabbing a couch. I love you, Lisa, Jesse's voice says, and she drops the knife. Oh, God. Now Freddy is saying, I love you, touching her hair. This is, he's so slimy. This is nasty. Stop. Anyway, Freddy tosses Lisa against the wall and jumps out the back door. Everything unlocks. People start coming out the pool and they think it's all over. Until... this motherfucker starts slicing and dicing. Gate is piping hot. The pool catches on fire. All outside the fences are fire. This is some scurry shit. One guy gets stepped on. One dude is stabbed in the stomach. Like, how many of y'all are at this part? If y'all don't just jump him, this guy in a blue V-neck is like, hey man, just calm down, all right? Relax. Look at the way Fred is looking at him. He's like, it's gonna be all right. Nobody's gonna hurt you. I'm here to help you.
Help yourself, fucker.
And here we have one of the most popular and legendary lines from this entire franchise.
You are all my children now.
But wow, what a moment. I will never forget.
That's history. Lisa's father breaks into his shelf of shotguns, so we should be good, right? You in the real world, so, you know, I'd like to see you survive a bullet in the head. I mean, is this a joke? Not only is he waving this gun around shooting horrible, but all the teens are across from Fred. I mean, the dad could have accidentally blew one of their heads off. Lisa comes out stopping her father, and that's when Fred slowly walks away towards the kids and leaves in a burst of flames. Lisa takes off running because she knows where he went. We get some on-theme red and green lighting as Lisa wraps her ankle before seeing these dumbass dogs with baby faces. I always hated this. It looks stupid to me. She makes her way all through this industrial power plant, hearing knives, tripping out, hallucinating, bugs eating at her bite. Oh, she sees an animal. And then Frederick finally shows himself. She's still crying that Jesse's in there. And right when Fred is about to slice, Jesse starts coming through. I am not afraid of you. He's in there and I want him back. She starts saying the same tired ass lines before she takes off Frederick's hat and kisses him. He said, ew, girl cooties. Anyway, this entire climax is god awful. The entire joint bursts into flames, Freddy melts, and when it goes out, oh look, it's Jesse underneath everything. So you know what that means? The power of love saved him.
Right.
And just like the end of the first movie, Jesse comes out with his mom who tells him to have a good day. He's waving his arms in the air like, yeah, happy ending. Gives Lisa a kiss on the bus and Carrie Hilson laughs, saying that was a really great party. Right, a great party where, you know, like 10 of your classmates died. Jesse says, I can't believe it's actually all over. And now that she said that, it's not.
Let's not talk about it.
And okay, Jesse starts to freak out because the bus starts speeding up out of nowhere. Like, nah, I thought you said it was all over. Calm down, Twink. He screams for the driver to slow down and stop, and it's nothing. Carrie Hilson says, Jesse, it's okay.
It's all over.
There's no way that I could make a video about Freddy's Revenge and not also talk about the documentary that the film was based off of, and specifically how heavily this entire experience affected Mark Patton's life. I went into this documentary a little bit in the Final Boy segment that I included Jesse in, the teenage Final Boys, and after rewatching it for this video, I have to be honest, my opinion is still the same. This documentary is very underwhelming to me. I haven't seen the 2010 Never Sleep Again documentary in years, only seeing it once, but if you don't know what it is, it's just every cast member from every Elm Street film coming back to talk about behind the scenes stuff. But when it came to Mark, the producers had to hire a private investigator to track him down because bro was all the way in Mexico living on a back dirt road, completely off the map. Mark revealed in the Scream Queen doc that he told them he would come back for Never Sleep Again under one circumstance, that he would be able to confront David Chaskin, who is the screenwriter, and say that he wrote this as a gay film and had been lying for 30 years. To give more context, that's the biggest conflict in not only Mark's life, but it's the biggest narrative in the documentary. People made a laughing stock out of Mark after this came out because of all the screaming like a girl, the gay undertones that are in the film, which is suspected of a 1985 audience, and the hard truth is that people were not prepared for a male scream queen. And adding fuel to the fire, David said in an interview that he didn't write this movie as a gay film, it's just that Mark was so gay that he ruined it. It's ridiculous. Right? You write a whole scene with a leather bar. You write the coach getting tied up naked, whipped with a towel. You knew what you were doing. The director, Jack Shoulder, said through the doc how none of this occurred to him. The Village Voice newspaper came out calling the film a great gay movie, and Jack said that they all had a good laugh, thinking it was funny because they didn't know where they had gotten that from. And yet Robert Englund himself said that he saw all of it in the script, and he felt that they were kind of tiptoeing around it. He knew that they were crossing a line, and he knew that Freddy was pushing buttons and he was a part of it. Robert admits he didn't talk to Jack about it, but he did talk to Robert Russler, who plays Grady, about it. Now, Robert Russler said even at the audition, he knew looking at the script that there was subtext. But then Kim Meyer said that she was completely unaware. At one of the screenings during the 30th anniversary run, Mark said the moment it clicked for him was when they filmed the scene under the stairs, calling it a love scene between him and Robert. I 100% agree.
I remember with Mark, and I remember asking Mark if I could make that, if I could make it kind of, and I think the word is homoerotic. And one of the pieces of coverage, I rim his mouth. I'm playing with a lot of symbolism there. But mostly for me, it was disfigured Freddy playing with Mark's beauty, which is what? Beauty and the Beast.
Imagine if they put that in the film. And he said that they did film it and putting the blade in his mouth, but they cut it out like, the audience, they would have had a fit. But I wish that they would have kept that in, like, go there, get uncomfortable, push the boundary. This is homophobia. No, let's talk. This is some real shit. Let's talk about it. This is homophobia. Everything happened incredibly fast. They shot the pool scene on July 4th, and the film opened in New York City on every screen on Halloween. Everywhere you saw Nightmare on Elm Street plastered everywhere. Mark's name, his face is everywhere. Tickets were sold out the next day at 10 a.m. This is overnight stardom. Imagine being in bed thinking to yourself, my dreams are finally coming true. This is something that's going to skyrocket his career. Mark said that he was up late at night thanking God for everything, and then immediately the next day it just all went to hell. All these queer elements inside a mainstream film during the height of the AIDS epidemic and how stigmatized gay people were did not help the situation. Mark had friends who were diagnosed, friends who were dying, and people were telling him to live his life in the closet if he wanted to be a big star. The door had already opened, and yet it was closing every other minute. His agent was acting fast. Like he said she came over to his house and she was going through his closet. She was throwing out t-shirts and jeans on the bed, basically saying like, only wear this to auditions and everything else in your closet needs to go. And after watching Freddy's Revenge in the theater, she told Mark to his face that he could not play straight and he's gonna have to be a character actor. I don't know. I don't blame him. Mark was, pretty much dropped the deuce. He made a decision to just leave it all behind. After all his years in Mexico, Mark didn't know he was famous within the horror world, nor did he know that any of these events were happening. 2015 was the year of the film's 30th anniversary, and he spent it traveling across the country, going to convention after convention to see the diehard fans of the film, and a large chunk of the film was us following him to these conventions, but it's not everything that we see. But let's circle back to David and Jack for a second. There is yet another interesting quote from David where he said, "There was certainly some intentional subtext, but it was intended to play homophobic rather than homoerotic. There were certain choices that were made, like casting, that pushed the subtext to a higher level and stripped away whatever subtlety there may have been."
What do you mean by that?
Do with that quote what you will. You notice how when I quoted him a few minutes ago, I said that he said he didn't write any subtext, but now the story is changing. This entire journey and narrative with the filmmakers is very, very anticlimactic, and it's so sad because, look, I don't want to be mean, but Jack and David, like, they are bastards. They're bastards. I'm sorry. They clearly do not give a shit about Mark's feelings, and it shows. Mark sits down with both of them separately, and pieces of the interview play throughout the film, but towards the end is where we really get into the weeds.
Your life, I think, there will always be a level of turmoil because, you have some conflict in your life.
Well, we all do. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Jack is just being completely tone deaf, like saying, it struck him as a little bit odd that Mark was getting wrapped up in the David thing. I mean, so dismissive.
The movie was 30 years ago and you're still pissed off at Dave Chaskin.
Now, here's the thing. I am a major advocate for letting things go. Let that shit go. That is a necessary cardinal rule of life. Another one of my favorite phrases that I read is somewhere along the lines of, let it be, then let it go. And I try to live by that as much as I can. We go through our lives crossing paths with so many people. There is so much energy in this world that is just colliding, every hour, every minute of every day. And it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. I think forgiveness is a superpower. It takes a lot of ego stripping. It takes a lot of will to completely wash your hands clean of something. And while I say that, we have to understand that people react to their grief and their grudges very differently. In my personal opinion, it is very insensitive to just tell a man who could have had a successful career in Hollywood, who was torn down by the media, critics, the very man who wrote the film, telling him that he ruined it, to just get over it. Do you see where I'm coming from? I'm not arguing that Mark Patton would have been, Daniel Day-Lewis, the next De Niro, DiCaprio. But what I am saying is that nobody knows what the trajectory of his career would have looked like had he, completely fought through it and internalized who he was.
It's not about you. It's not about you at all. And I think it's time that you just let it go.
No, I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to let it go because it obviously didn't get in your head.
That line is crazy to me because this is 100% about him. He was the target and the center of attention was on him for how bad the film was. Mark tries to get it through Jack's skull that David didn't admit the subtext when it was unacceptable to be gay, and instead he pointed the finger at Mark. But when people started opening up to it and looking at it through a different lens, now he's owning it and taking credit for it. And right after he says this too, Jack kind of like shrugs and he's like, well, I get it from his POV. It's giving that. When Mark meets David to his face, he repeats another quote that David said in an interview where he called Freddy's Revenge not a homoerotic film, but a homophobic one. The type of movie they should show at a conversion camp, that the love of a good woman can make any gay man straight.
Well, that was a joke.
But who was laughing? Mark is explaining that he had issues with it because he was only doing what he was told to do on that film set. Even in the script, he's specifically remembering it saying that Jesse closes the drawer with his ass. Come on, man. Cut the shit. You know, Mark was supposed to have these pencils out of his nose. There was extra stuff in the scene that was just stupid and goofy, but he didn't want to do that. So Jack told him, you know, we'll just put the music on and you can dance. After the end of that dance sequence in his bedroom, everybody on set clapped for him. Like, nobody pulled him to the side and said that this doesn't work. Same thing with all the screaming that he does throughout the movie. Nobody pulled him aside and say, hey, this doesn't work. This is too feminine. Maybe let's try it this way. None of that. Nobody said anything. So then Mark asks David why he even decided to do this in the first place. And in David's words, I'm paraphrasing, he excused it as a sign of the times in 1978 New York where he grew up. He had never met a gay man in his life, and David says that being gay seems like a very visceral, animalistic type of thing that's not controllable and would infiltrate somebody's mind. So add the AIDS thing in the pot and it would have added to the horror. He admits it's a little exploitative, but hey, that's what movies do. They manipulate people. In the end, he does apologize to Mark, and Mark points out that through this entire process, the only thing that he wanted was for somebody to say, I'm sorry, and David was the only one who did that. I've gone on long enough about this damn documentary, and I stand by my opinion. I do. None of these men, David nor Jack, gave a shit because it was so long ago, which in some aspect, yes, you are right, but again, imagine your lifelong dream coming to life and falling flat, having the world, the media, rip you to shreds because you were just doing what you were told, and then having the filmmakers and the crew like not even have your back, but then also talk shit about you and like not even help the situation. I don't know. Oh boy, where the hell do I even start with this movie? I do not want to talk anything about the behind the scenes. We already discussed that, there's more facts about the film, but none of it is that important to bring up. So I want this entire section to just be me talking about my comments and critiques on the film. I am in full comprehension of why people say that this is a bad film. I get it. Homophobia aside, the way in which the events unfold are just very lackluster. Like, this movie feels like a third or fourth draft. It needed a few more. I lightly touched on how repetitive the nightmare sequences were. I mean, seriously, bro. It's Jesse walking around like a zombie. Something creepy happens and he wakes up sweating, comes downstairs in the morning. There's some type of family conflict. Then he goes to school. Lisa's asking him what's wrong. He's pouty. Then he goes to baseball practice with Grady. It repeats. Like, we do it 5 times. Jesse does not go into distress until the 3rd act, around the time the pool party starts. Now, if we look back at Nightmare 1, Nancy was stressed out that entire fucking movie. My girl was going through it. But beyond that, and this is my biggest issue with this movie, Jesse is not an active protagonist. The whole movie, he's just whining. Nancy actively went after that bald bitch. She learned about traps to try to pull him out. She was thinking about dream logic, all of that. But here, we ain't got nothing. We ain't got nothing. Everything is planted on the girl here. Everything is planted on Lisa to save him. This is not about gender, okay, we're doing a reverse damsel in distress. I got that. But is she the main character? No. Jesse is and he doesn't do anything, pouting because of his buster-ass father or his coach. Where is the character arc? Where is the lesson learned? Don't get me wrong, I love that we're seeing a male protagonist be vulnerable, be emotional, screaming, whatever. He's a teen breaking the mold of what a boy should act like. But of course, the downside to that was that the audience, the 1985 audience, was going to make fun of that because of just where we were in the world. Fred literally lives inside of Jesse's body. There is zero subtlety there. This is a possession story. Reading and blending into this closeted teenage boy who has these urges that he can't control. Dude, look at the death scenes. What do they have in common? They're all placed in or near a scene where there is some type of intimacy involved. The killings often happen when Jesse tries to act on his impulses, the shower with his coach, at the pool house with Lisa, when he ran to Grady for protection. Frederick the Bastard is an allegory for queerness as both liberation but mainly terror. And I just thought of something. I'm gonna add this in before I forget. Walk with me. Walk with me. But do you remember what the boys are saying when they're screaming for help? Just a thought. Like, of course they'd call for the man who's supposed to protect them from the monsters. Never mind that the real monster might be failing daddy's expectations of manhood, but hey. And can we talk about how it makes zero sense that this film is titled Freddy's Revenge? It's so lazy and uninspired because who is he actually getting revenge on? The original premise of this world was built on Fred getting revenge on the kids of the parents who killed him. Babe, Jesse and his family are from out of town. So why the hell is he all of a sudden coming after this kid just because he moved into the house? But even then, there was nothing in this movie that really brought him back in the way that the other films in the franchise do, which I'm not going to even bring those up because if I cover them, I'm probably going to cover the franchise over time. But the way that they bring him back, it gets so stupid. It just, I don't know, like, why is Frederick targeting this kid specifically? But then it makes you think like, okay, maybe the spirit of Fred is manifesting through Jesse's demons because of his battle with his sexuality. Aside of the different elements of gender and score, it just felt like all of the rules that the first film had set up were completely thrown out the window. Where was the dream logic? Where was Nancy, other than this damn diary that we never saw or heard about in the first film? Why is Freddy killing teens at the pool party when they're all awake? It makes zero sense. I am truly convinced that David probably only saw the film in the theater once, or maybe, you know, he put it on in the background and while he was doing something else and was like, I pretty much got the concept. Wes Craven refused to work on this film because he never wanted nor intended for A Nightmare on Elm Street to have a sequel, and even wanted the first film to have a happy ending. I go into a bit of that in the original film that I covered. He also didn't like the idea of Freddy manipulating the protagonist into committing the murders, but Wes did return to the franchise as the writer of the third film, Dream Warriors, from '87, and he came back as the director and writer of New Nightmare in '94. I just wish that this movie could have been better. I love the inversions of all the gender stuff. Freddy being a stand-in for sexuality, the scene with Grady in his bedroom. There was some fabulous stuff. This could have been phenomenal, but unfortunately, just the times, bro. Part of me kind of feels like sometime in the future, I wouldn't necessarily say the near future, but I can see in the far future somebody reimagining this, and hopefully it's done by a major studio so we can have a little budget to work with, but no CGI. Don't get crazy. I am pro practical effects. One of the more highly underrated attributes with Freddy's Revenge is Mark Patton's performance. And I know I'm a broken record here with the scene, but everything in Grady's bedroom is top 3 favorite scene in horror cinema. I also love the makeup effects done by Kevin Yeager, who only had a few pics from the original film as a reference, but he decided to redesign Freddy's look. He studied pictures of burn victims and brought out the facial bones with the intent to make Freddy look like a male witch and give him red and amber eyes to make him more demonic looking. The truth is, Freddy's Revenge is a hot mess, tonally off, structurally odd, and incredibly light on dream logic. But that mess mess is exactly what makes it special. Horror movies, more times than not, reflect culture anxieties. In '85, it was queer fear, AIDS, repression, visibility, and this movie accidentally crystallized all of that. To dismiss the film completely as a bad sequel is missing the point. Freddy's Revenge is horror history, proof that sometimes the mistakes, the accidents, the weird deviations from formula are worth meaning. And if horror is the genre that speaks what can't be said, then Freddy's Revenge is one of the loudest queer screams ever captured on film. What do you think about Freddy's Revenge? What are some of your takes with this movie? Do you think David and Jack were, being tone deaf? Do you think that they were right? Leave me a comment down below. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I would love to have you. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. It helps me out a lot. And if you're feeling extra froggy, turn on that bell notification so you don't miss a new video. And in the meantime, my Scream Queens, take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit.